The emergency alarm echoed through the massive crystal halls of the Galactic Council station. Red lights flashed as representatives from dozens of worlds hurried to the main chamber. Fear filled their faces as they took their seats around the circular platform that floated in the center of the room. Ambassador Thylix stood at the speaker's podium, her blue skin pale with worry. The tall Zentari woman had served on the council for 30 years, but she had never seen a crisis like this one. Behind her, a huge holographic display showed the outer rim of the galaxy. Red markers covered entire star systems, each one representing another world that had fallen to the Vorthak Empire. "The situation grows worse each day," Thylix announced to the assembled delegates, her voice carried across the chamber without need for amplification. 3 more systems have gone dark in the past week. The Corvani colonies, the Melody research stations, and the entire Kixian sector. All silent. All lost. General Corvin slammed, his armored fist on his seat's armrest. The proud Melody warrior's golden eyes burned with anger and frustration. "We cannot keep running from these monsters," he growled. "My fleets are ready to fight. Give us the order, and we will make our stand." "With what?" asked Counselor Vex from the Aquarian delegation. The fish-like being's gills fluttered with stress. "The Vorthak destroyed our combined fleet at Nexus Prime. They outnumber us 10 to 1, and their ships are stronger than anything we can build," Thylix nodded sadly. The battle at Nexus Prime had been their best hope. 17 different species had joined forces to stop the Vorthak advance. The enemy had crushed them in less than 6 hours. Not a single allied ship had escaped. "The Vorthak are not like other conquerors," said Dr. Zeelan, the Council's chief military advisor. "They do not just take our worlds, they strip them bare. Every tree, every ocean, every living thing. They consume everything and leave behind dead rocks floating in space." The chamber fell silent. Everyone knew the stories. Worlds that had thrived for millions of years, reduced to barren wastelands in a matter of months. The Vorthak ate planets, like some species ate fruit. General Corvin stood up, his massive frame casting a shadow across several nearby seats. "Then we die fighting. Better to fall with honor than to run like cowards until there is nowhere left to go." "Easy words from someone whose homeworld is not next in line," snapped Counselor Rhett from the Celian delegation. The small, gray-skinned being pointed a clawed finger at the display. "My people are 3 jumps away from the current Vorthak position. We have maybe 2 months before they arrive. What am I supposed to tell my children? That their brave General Corvin thinks we should die with honor?" Arguments broke out across the chamber. Some delegates called for immediate evacuation of threatened worlds. Others demanded a final military push. A few suggested trying to negotiate with the Vorthak, though everyone knew such talks would be useless. The enemy did not make deals. They only consumed. Thylix raised her hand for silence, but the shouting continued. The situation seemed hopeless. Their best scientists could not build weapons strong enough to hurt Vorthak ships. Their best generals could not find tactics that worked against the enemy's massive numbers. Their best diplomats had no one to talk to, since the Vorthak never responded to peace offers. In the back corner of the chamber, an old Aquarian female slowly stood up. Historian Velna was ancient even by her species' long-lived standards. Her scales had turned silver with age, and she moved carefully with the help of a walking stick. Most delegates did not even notice her at first. "There might be another way," Velna said quietly. The chamber gradually grew quiet as her words spread. Thylix gestured for the old historian to approach the speaker's platform. Velna walked slowly to the center of the room, her webbed feet making soft, splashing sounds on the crystal floor. "I have spent my life studying the ancient records," Velna began. "Stories and legends from the early days of galactic civilization. Most are just myths and fairy tales. But some might be more than that." General Corvin snorted. "We do not have time for children's stories, old one." Velna fixed him with a steady gaze. "Perhaps. But desperation makes us consider options we would normally ignore." She touched a control on her datapad, and new images appeared on the main display. Ancient star charts and faded text scrolled past. "There are records," she continued, from the very first explorers who mapped this part of the galaxy. They speak of a species unlike any other, warriors of incredible skill and intelligence, masters of technology that seemed impossible. They called them humans. Several delegates laughed. Counselor Vex rolled his large eyes. Humans are myths, historian. Stories told to frighten children or inspire young soldiers. Everyone knows this. Do they? Velna asked. The records describe their homeworld as a blue and green planet orbiting a yellow star. They built great cities and ships that could travel, faster than light. But most importantly, they never lost a war. Because they never existed, General Corvin said firmly. If such a species was real, where are they now? Why have we never encountered them? Velna smiled sadly. The records say they chose isolation. After watching the galaxy tear itself apart in endless wars, they withdrew to their home region, built a barrier around their space, and refused all contact with outside civilizations. The chamber buzzed with whispered conversations. Some delegates seemed interested despite themselves. Others clearly thought the old historian had lost her mind. Thylak stepped forward. Even if these humans were real, even if they still exist, why would they help us? You just said they refuse contact with other species. Because, Velna replied, the ancient texts describe them as protectors. They fought against tyrants and bullies. They defended the weak and innocent. If they truly exist, and if they see what the Vorthak are doing to our worlds. She let the words hang in the air. The chamber was completely silent now. Even the skeptics were listening. General Corvin crossed his arms over his chest. This is foolishness. We are talking about chasing ghost stories while real enemies destroy real worlds. What other choice do we have? Asked Counselor Rhett. Our fleets are broken, our weapons are useless, our people are dying. If there is even a small chance, Thylak looked around the chamber. She saw fear in every face, but also a desperate hope. They were drowning, and Velna had thrown them a rope made of legend and myth. Perhaps it would hold, perhaps it would not, but it was the only rope they had. Very well, the ambassador announced. I will authorize a search mission. One ship to investigate these coordinates historian Velna has provided. We cannot spare more resources than that. One ship will be enough, Velna said quietly. If the humans are what the records claim, one ship will be more than enough. The exploration ship Seeker's Hope moved slowly through empty space. Captain Zix sat in his command chair watching the star charts with growing doubt. They had been traveling for 3 weeks following historian Velna's ancient coordinates, and so far they had found nothing but empty systems and dead worlds. Sensor sweep complete of this sector, Captain, reported Navigation Officer Quinn. The insect-like Clax clicked his mandibles nervously as he studied his instruments. No signs of advanced civilization, no energy signatures, no artificial structures. Captain Zix sighed, his reptilian features showing clear frustration. The Saurid commander had volunteered for this mission despite thinking it was a waste of time. But the council was desperate, and desperate leaders made poor decisions. Still, he would do his duty and search every coordinate on Velna's list. How? Many more systems to investigate, he asked. Just one, sir, Quinn replied. The final coordinates point to a system about 6 hours away. Yellow star, multiple planets. The ancient records call it Sol. Communications Officer Thyra looked up from her station. The ethereal Luminian's energy form flickered with curiosity. Sol is an old word in several languages. It means sun or light. Perfect name for another empty system, muttered Security Chief Brix. The stocky Tyrellian had made his opinions about this mission very clear from the beginning. We could be defending colonies from Vorthak raids instead of chasing fairy tales. Captain Zix held up a clawed hand for silence. He understood his crew's frustration, but they had orders to complete this search. Set course for the Sol system. Maximum safe speed. The Seeker's Hope jumped to faster-than-light travel, its engines humming quietly. The ship was small but well-equipped for exploration missions. It carried advanced sensors, diplomatic equipment, and enough supplies for long journeys. What it did not carry were heavy weapons or thick armor. The designers had built it for discovery, not war. 6 hours later, they dropped back into normal, space at the edge of the Sol system. Immediately, every alarm on the ship began screaming. Multiple contacts, Quinn shouted over the noise. Massive energy signatures throughout the system. Captain, these readings are impossible. Captain Zix stared at his displays in shock. The system was not empty. It was full of structures that dwarfed anything he had ever seen. Huge orbital platforms surrounded several planets. Ships moved between them in organized patterns. And the energy output from their technology was beyond anything in galactic records. Focus sensors on the third planet, he ordered. That should be the homeworld according to the ancient texts. The main screen filled with an image that took everyone's breath away. The planet was beautiful beyond words. Blue oceans, green and brown continents, white clouds swirling in perfect patterns. But more amazing were the artificial structures. Massive space elevators reached from the surface to orbit. Ring stations circled the planet like jewelry. Ships the size of cities moved through space as easily as birds through air. Captain? Thyra whispered, her energy form brightening with excitement. I'm detecting billions of life signs on that planet. Billions. And they're all the same species. Impossible, Brick said flatly. No single species has numbers like that. The combined population of the entire Galactic Council is only a few 100 billion across thousands of worlds. The sensors don't lie, Quinn reported. Population estimate for this system is over 50 billion. Most are concentrated on the third planet. But there are major settlements on at least 6 other worlds and hundreds of space stations. Captain Zix felt his scales tighten with nervousness. Whatever species lived here, they were far more advanced than anything the galaxy had ever seen. Their cities were bigger, their ships were faster, and their technology was centuries ahead of Council science. Sir? Thyra said suddenly. I'm detecting movement. Something is approaching our position. From where? Captain Zix demanded. I don't know. They weren't there a moment ago, and now they're surrounding us. The main screen changed to show their immediate area. Sleek ships had appeared from nowhere, forming a perfect circle around the Seeker's Hope. They were beautiful and deadly, like sharks made of silver and light. Each one was larger than the exploration vessel, and their weapon ports were clearly visible. How did they get so close without being detected? Brix asked, reaching for the weapons console. Don't even think about it, Captain Zix warned. We're outnumbered and outgunned. Open a communication channel. Thyra's form flickered as she worked her controls. Channel open, sir. Captain Zix cleared his throat and spoke in careful galactic standard. Unknown vessels, this is Captain Zix of the Galactic Council ship Seeker's Hope. We come in peace, seeking contact with the inhabitants of this system. Please respond. For a long moment, there was only silence. Then a voice came through the speakers speaking perfect galactic standard with a slight accent none of them recognized. This is Admiral Kim Tae-ho of the Terran Defense Fleet. You have entered protected space without authorization. State your purpose and intentions immediately. The bridge crew exchanged shocked glances. The voice was calm and professional, but there was steel underneath. This Admiral Kim spoke like someone used to being obeyed. Admiral Kim, Captain Zix replied carefully. We are representatives of the Galactic Council. We have traveled far to make contact with your people. We seek the humans. Another pause. When Admiral Kim spoke again, there was something different in his voice. Surprise, perhaps. You seek humans? Interesting. It has been many years since outsiders came looking for us. Why now? Captain Zix looked at his crew, then made a decision. Admiral, our worlds are under attack by an enemy we cannot defeat. We found ancient records that spoke of humans as great warriors and protectors. We need help. The silence stretched longer this time. Captain Zix began to worry that he had said something wrong. Finally, Admiral Kim's voice returned. Captain Zix, you and your crew will follow our ships to Luna Station. You will be treated as guests, but any aggressive action will be met with immediate response. Do you understand? We understand, Admiral. Good. Welcome to the Sol system. Captain, welcome to human space. The alien ships moved into formation around the Seeker's Hope, guiding it deeper into the system. As they traveled, more wonders revealed themselves. Asteroid mining operations that moved entire space rocks, shipyards building vessels larger than space stations, defensive platforms that bristled with weapons of unknown design. "Captain," Quinn whispered, "I'm scanning their ships. The technology, it's like nothing we've ever seen. Their engines don't match any known design. Their hull materials register as impossible on our sensors." "How impossible?" Captain Zix asked. "They appear to be made of condensed neutron matter held together by controlled gravity fields. That should be impossible. And their weapons?" "What about their weapons? I can't identify them at all. The energy signatures don't match anything in our databases." Captain Zix nodded slowly. They had come looking for mythical warriors to save them from the Vorthak. What they had found was something far beyond myth. These humans, if that's what they truly were, possessed technology that seemed like magic. Ships that appeared from nowhere. Materials that shouldn't exist. Weapons that couldn't be understood. As Luna Station grew larger on their screens, Captain Zix wondered if they had made a terrible mistake. They had begged the humans for help against one enemy, but what if the humans decided that the galaxy needed to be conquered rather than saved? What if they had just led wolves to a flock of sheep? The Seeker's Hope docked at Luna Station under careful guard. Through the viewports, Captain Zix could see humans moving through the corridors. They looked surprisingly normal considering their advanced technology. 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 head. But there was something in the way they moved. A confidence and purpose that spoke of great strength. Admiral Kim's voice came through the speakers one more time. "Docking complete, Captain Zix. Prepare for formal first contact. And Captain, welcome to the beginning of a new chapter in galactic history." Luna Station was unlike anything Captain Zix and his crew had ever seen. The corridors were wide and bright, with walls that seemed to glow with their own inner light. Gravity felt perfectly normal despite being inside an artificial structure. The air was clean and fresh, carrying scents of growing plants and clean water. Human security officers escorted them through the station. Captain Zix studied these mysterious beings as they walked. They were smaller than most galactic species but moved with a grace and confidence that spoke of natural athletes. Their skin came in different shades of brown and pink, and their hair showed many colors. Most interesting were their eyes, which seemed to take in everything around them. "This way, Captain," said one of the escorts, a woman with short black hair and dark eyes. "Admiral Kim Taeho is waiting in Conference Room 1. They entered a large circular chamber with windows that looked out into space. Earth hung in the distance, its blue and white surface beautiful beyond words. At the center of the room stood a long table surrounded by comfortable chairs. Admiral Kim Taeho rose as they entered. He was a tall man with graying hair and steady brown eyes. His uniform was simple but well made, dark blue with silver markings. He moved like a soldier but spoke like a diplomat. "Captain Zix," Admiral Kim said, extending his hand in a human greeting gesture. "Welcome to Luna Station. I am Admiral Kim Taeho, commander of Terran Defense Fleet operations in this sector." Captain Zix carefully shook the offered hand, noting the firm grip. "Thank you for receiving us, Admiral. This is my crew: Navigation Officer Quinn, Communications Officer Thyra, and Security Chief Brix." "Please sit," Admiral Kim gestured to the chairs. "I have asked Dr. Park Soo-jin to join us. She is our chief xenobiologist and lead diplomatic officer." A woman entered the room carrying a data tablet. Dr. Park was younger than the Admiral, with long black hair tied back and intelligent brown eyes behind thin glasses. She wore a white coat over her uniform and moved with the quick precision of a scientist. "Dr. Park has been studying your ship's design and your species' biology through our sensors," Admiral Kim explained. "We wanted to understand who we were dealing with before making formal contact." Captain Zix felt a chill run down his spine. "You have been scanning us?" "Of course," Dr. Park said calmly, taking a seat across from them. "First contact protocols require complete information. We needed to know if you posed a threat, carried diseases, or had hostile intentions. The scans show you are all healthy and your ship carries no dangerous weapons." "Dangerous by whose standards?" Security Chief Brix asked suspiciously. Dr. Park smiled. but it did not reach her eyes. By our standards, Chief Bricks, your plasma cannons and particle shields are interesting technology, but they would not be effective against our defensive systems. The casual way she dismissed their most advanced weapons made Captain Zix even more nervous. Dr. Park, our records suggest that humans prefer peace. Is this true? We prefer peace, Admiral Kim answered. But we are very good at war when peace is not possible. Now, Captain, you mentioned that your worlds are under attack. Tell us about this enemy. Captain Zix explained about the Vorthak Empire. He described their massive fleets, their planet-consuming technology, and their unstoppable advance across the galaxy. As he spoke, Dr. Park took notes on her tablet, while Admiral Kim listened without interruption. The Galactic Council has tried everything, Captain Zix concluded. Our combined fleets were destroyed at Nexus Prime. Our best weapons cannot pierce their armor. Our best tactics fail against their numbers. We are losing world after world, and soon there will be nothing left to defend. Admiral Kim nodded slowly. We are aware of the Vorthak situation. You are aware? Quinn clicked his mandibles in surprise. But how? We have had no contact with humans before today. Dr. Park exchanged a glance with Admiral Kim. Captain, humans have been monitoring galactic communications for over 60 years. We know about the Council, the various species, the wars and conflicts. We know about the Vorthak advance. 60 years? Captain Zix could barely believe it. Why did you never make contact? Because, Admiral Kim said carefully, we learned that this galaxy has a tendency toward violence and conquest. Every few decades, some species decides to build an empire by destroying their neighbors. We decided that isolation was preferable to constant warfare. But the ancient records, Thyra said, her energy form flickering with confusion, they describe humans as protectors and warriors who fought against tyrants. The records are correct, Dr. Park confirmed. But that was long ago, when we were younger and more idealistic. After watching several galactic wars from a distance, we chose a policy of non-interference. Captain Zix felt his hope beginning to fade. So you will not help us? Admiral Kim stood and walked to the windows facing Earth. I did not say that, Captain. The situation with the Vorthak is different from previous conflicts. They are not conquerors seeking territory or resources. They are consumers. They destroy everything they touch, leaving dead worlds behind. Then you will fight them? Captain Zix asked desperately. That decision is not mine to make, Admiral Kim replied. The Terran Federation Council must vote on any military intervention. But I will say this, your formal request for assistance changes the situation significantly. Dr. Park leaned forward in her chair. Captain, humans have a saying. We don't start fights, but we finish them. For 60 years, we have watched the galaxy fight its own battles. But you came here asking for help. That request carries weight with our leadership. A new voice spoke from the doorway. Indeed it does. Everyone turned to see another human entering the room. This was a younger man with sharp features and neat black hair. His uniform bore more decorations than Admiral Kim's, and he moved with the confident stride of someone used to command. Captain Lee Do-hyun, Admiral Kim said. I was not expecting you. The Terran Council finished their emergency session an hour ago, Captain Lee replied. I came to deliver their decision personally. Captain Zix held his breath. Everything depended on what this human would say next. Captain Lee looked directly at the alien delegation. Captain Zix, the Terran Federation has reviewed your request for assistance against the Vorthak Empire. We have studied your records of their activities and confirmed their threat to galactic civilization. And? Captain Zix asked when the human paused. The Terran Federation accepts your request for military assistance. We will deploy forces to stop the Vorthak advance and protect the innocent worlds they threaten. Relief flooded through Captain Zix so powerfully that his legs nearly gave out. Thank you, he whispered. Thank you. Do not thank us yet, Captain Lee said seriously. Captain, when humans fight, we fight to win, completely and permanently. The Vorthak Empire will not simply be stopped, it will be destroyed. Every ship, every weapon, every base they have built. Are you prepared for that level of response? Captain Zix thought of all the worlds already consumed, all the billions of beings who had died. "Yes," he said firmly. "Yes, we are prepared, Admiral." Kim smiled for the first time since they had met. "Then it is settled. Captain Zix, please return to your ship and contact the Galactic Council. Tell them that the Terran 7th Fleet will deploy within 72 hours. Tell them the age of Vorthak terror is about to end." Dr. Park stood and offered Captain Zix a small device. "This is a quantum communicator. It will allow instant contact between your council and our command structure. Coordination will be essential for what comes next." As they prepared to leave, Captain Zix turned back to Admiral Kim. "How large is this 7th Fleet you mentioned?" Admiral Kim exchanged another glance with Captain Lee. "Large enough, Captain. More than large enough." Walking back through Luna Station toward their ship, Security Chief Brick shook his head in amazement. "Captain, did we just convince mythical beings to save the galaxy?" Captain Zix looked back at the conference room where the humans were already deep in planning sessions. "I think, Chief Bricks, we just discovered that some myths are true, and I think the Vorthak are about to learn that lesson the hard way." The Seeker's Hope undocked from Luna Station under escort from human ships. As they prepared for the jump back to Council space, Captain Zix watched Earth shrink in the distance. Somewhere down there, the most advanced civilization in the galaxy was preparing for war. And for the first time in months, he felt hope. Deep beneath the Swiss Alps on Earth, the most secure facility in human space buzzed with activity. The Terran High Command Center was a marvel of engineering, carved from solid rock and protected by shields that could withstand planet-killing weapons. Inside its main conference room, the most powerful people in human civilization gathered for an emergency war council. Fleet Admiral Yoon Jae-wook entered the chamber with the measured stride of a man who had commanded fleets among the stars for 30 years. His gray hair was cut military short, and his dark eyes missed nothing as he surveyed the assembled leaders. As Supreme Commander of all Terran forces, his word would carry the most weight in the decisions to come. "Ladies and gentlemen," Admiral Yoon announced, taking his seat at the head of the massive holographic table. "We are here to plan the first major military operation humans have undertaken in over half a century. The stakes could not be higher." General Han So-young was already studying tactical displays that floated above the table. The ground forces commander was known throughout the fleet for her aggressive tactics and brilliant strategic mind. Her black hair was streaked with premature gray from years of stress, but her eyes burned with the fire of someone who had never lost a battle. "The intelligence reports from the alien delegation are disturbing," General Han said without looking up. "From her data, the Vorthak don't just conquer worlds, they strip them bare of all life and resources. Every plant, every animal, every drop of water. They leave nothing but dead rock behind." Secretary of Defense Kang Hyun-woo nodded grimly. As the civilian leader responsible for military policy, he understood the political implications better than anyone. "The question before us is not whether we can defeat the Vorthak," he said. "Our analysis shows that human technology is several generations ahead of anything they possess. The question is what happens after we reveal our capabilities to the galaxy." Admiral Yoon touched a control, and the holographic display changed to show the current galactic situation. Red areas marked Vorthak-controlled space, while smaller green zones represented the remaining free worlds. The red was spreading like an infection. Intelligence estimates that the Vorthak Empire controls approximately 40% of the galaxy's inhabited systems, he reported. Their rate of expansion is increasing. At current pace, they will reach the galactic core within 2 years. "Unacceptable," declared a new voice from the chamber's communication array. The speaker appeared as a shimmering hologram at the far end of the table. Nam Ji-won was the coordinator for humanity's vast artificial intelligence network, and she rarely left her research facility on Titan. "The AI collective has run over 10,000 battle simulations," Nam continued, her image flickering slightly due to the quantum transmission. "In every scenario where the Vorthak reach the core systems, galactic civilization collapses completely. The death toll would exceed 1 trillion sentient beings." The room fell silent as the enormous number sank in. Human civilization numbered only 50 billion people spread across hundreds of worlds. The idea of 1,000,000,000,000 deaths was almost impossible to comprehend. General Han stood and walked to the tactical display. I've reviewed the combat reports from Nexus Prime where the aliens made their last stand. The Vorthak fleet outnumbered the combined galactic forces 10-1, but that's not what defeated them. She gestured, and the display showed detailed scans of Vorthak ships. Their technology is crude but effective. Massive ships with thick armor and powerful weapons. They win through overwhelming force, not superior tactics or engineering. How? Crude? Asked Admiral Yoon. Fusion reactors instead of antimatter. Projectile weapons instead of energy beams. Metal armor instead of shield generators. By our standards, they're fighting with swords and clubs. Secretary Kang leaned back in his chair. That makes our decision easier from a military standpoint, but politically the situation is complex. If we deploy the 7th Fleet as promised, we will reveal capabilities that will shock the galaxy. Admiral Yoon nodded. The Terran 7th Fleet was one of 12 full fleets in human space. Each fleet contained over 1,000 ships from small fighters to massive dreadnoughts. The aliens thought they were requesting help from a single species. They had no idea they were asking the most powerful civilization in galactic history to enter a war. There's another consideration, Nam added from her holographic projection. Our monitoring stations have detected something disturbing about Vorthak biology. They appear to be a hybrid species, part organic and part machine. The AI collective believes they may be the result of a civilization that merged completely with artificial intelligence. Cybernetic enhancement? General Han asked. More than that, complete integration. The Vorthak may not be a natural species at all, but rather the end result of a technological singularity gone wrong. They consume resources to feed their machine components while maintaining organic elements for reproduction and adaptation. The implications were chilling. If the Vorthak represented the dark side of technological advancement, their defeat became even more important. They were a warning of what could happen when progress went too far in the wrong direction. Admiral Yoon stood and activated the main strategic display. Given these factors, I propose Operation Mythbreaker. The 7th Fleet will deploy to Vorthak space with orders to eliminate the threat completely. No half measures, no negotiations, no mercy. Rules of engagement? Asked General Han. Total war. Any Vorthak ship, station, or facility is to be destroyed on sight. Any world they have consumed is to be retaken if possible. Any Vorthak forces that surrender will be accepted, but they will be held under strict guard until we can determine if they can be safely integrated into galactic society. Secretary Kang raised a hand. Admiral, the aliens expect us to simply stop the Vorthak advance. They don't know we're planning to invade their entire empire. Shouldn't we inform the Galactic Council of our full intentions? No, Admiral Yoon said firmly. If we tell them our plans, word might reach the Vorthak. Better to let them think we're sending a small relief force. The shock and awe factor will be more effective if they don't see it coming. Nam's hologram shifted as she accessed new data streams. The AI collective agrees with Admiral Yoon's assessment. Psychological warfare will be a key component of this operation. The Vorthak have never faced serious resistance. The sudden appearance of a technologically superior force will likely cause panic in their command structure. General Han pulled up detailed fleet compositions on her personal display. The 7th Fleet includes 12 dreadnoughts, 48 cruisers, 120 destroyers, and over 800 smaller vessels. Total firepower equivalent to, well, there's nothing in galactic history to compare it to. Personnel? Admiral Yoon asked. 200,000 fleet crew, 50,000 Marines, and full AI support integration. Every ship in the fleet is networked through quantum entanglement for instantaneous coordination across any distance. The quantum networking was humanity's greatest tactical advantage. While other species struggled to coordinate fleets across light years of space, human ships could act as a single organism, regardless of distance. Commanders could share targeting data, tactical updates, and strategic changes in real time. Admiral Yoon looked around the table at each of his senior officers. Are we all in agreement? Operation Mythbreaker launches in 60 hours with orders to completely eliminate the Vorthak threat? Agreed, said General Han immediately. Agreed. added Secretary Kang after a moment's hesitation. The AI Collective supports this course of action, Nam confirmed. Admiral Yoon nodded and sealed their decision with a touch of his command authorization. Then it settled. Signal the 7th Fleet to begin final preparations. And send a message to the Galactic Council. Tell them help is on the way. As the meeting broke up, General Han approached Admiral Yoon privately. Sir, once we reveal our full capabilities, the galaxy will never be the same. Every species will know that humans are the dominant military power. Admiral Yoon looked out through the reinforced windows at the snow-covered mountains above. Perhaps that's for the best, General. The galaxy has been at war with itself for thousands of years. Maybe it's time for someone to impose peace. And if they resist our authority? Admiral Yoon's expression grew cold. Then they'll learn the same lesson the Vorthak are about to learn. Some fights you cannot win. High above them, in the orbital shipyards around Earth, the 7th Fleet made its final preparations. Ships that could destroy planets checked their weapons systems. Crews that had trained for decades ran through battle scenarios. And in the quantum computer cores, artificial intelligences calculated the most efficient ways to end a war that had already lasted too long. The age of human isolation was ending. The age of human dominance was about to begin. The throne room of Emperor Vorthak Prime was a monument to conquest and consumption. Walls made from the crystallized remains of 1,000 dead worlds rose toward a ceiling that pulsed with captured stellar energy. At the center of this vast chamber sat the Emperor himself, a being that was no longer entirely organic. Vorthak Prime had ruled his empire for over 3 centuries, and each year of conquest had changed him further. Cybernetic implants covered most of his original flesh, glowing tubes carried synthetic blood through artificial veins, and his eyes had been replaced with multi-spectrum sensors that could see across dozens of wavelengths. He was more machine than living creature now, kept alive by technology stolen from 1 million consumed worlds. War Master Krex. The Emperor's voice echoed from speakers built into his chest cavity. Report on the advance to the Galactic Core. War Master Krex approached the throne with measured steps. Unlike his Emperor, Krex retained most of his original biology, preferring strategic enhancement over complete conversion. His natural Vorthak features were still visible beneath the armor plating grafted to his skull and arms. The advance proceeds ahead of schedule, my Emperor, Krex reported. The Corvani system has been fully processed. Estimated resource yield, 4 million tons of rare metals, 600 billion gallons of processed hydrocarbons, and complete biological data from 17 species. Excellent. And resistance? Minimal. A few outdated defense platforms, easily destroyed. The inhabitants evacuated most of their population before our arrival, but we captured enough for our biological research programs. Emperor Vorthak Prime's sensors focused on a holographic display showing their empire's expansion. Red zones marked fully consumed systems, while yellow indicated worlds currently being processed. The map showed an unstoppable tide of destruction sweeping across the galaxy. The alien coalition that opposed us at Nexus Prime, the Emperor said. Any signs of reorganization? None, my Emperor. Our intelligence networks report panic and confusion throughout their remaining territories. Several species are attempting to flee beyond the galactic rim rather than face us. The Emperor's mechanical laugh was a harsh sound of grinding gears and electronic static. Cowards. They lack the vision to understand what we offer. Through consumption, their biological and technological distinctiveness is preserved forever within our collective. A new voice interrupted from the chamber's communication array. My Emperor, urgent report from the Frontier Command. Speak, Vorthak Prime commanded. Unknown vessels have been detected approaching the Zerion system. Fleet, composition unknown, but they do not match any profiles in our databases. War Master Krex stepped forward. Survivors from Nexus Prime attempting another futile attack? Negative, War Master. These ships are different. Our sensors cannot penetrate their hull materials. Energy signatures are unlike anything we have encountered. Emperor Vorthak Prime's attention focused completely on this new information. In 3 centuries of conquest, No enemy had ever possessed technology the Vorthak could not identify and counter. "How many ships?" the Emperor demanded. "Approximately 1,000, my Emperor. All unknown class." War Master Krex scoffed. 1,000 ships? The Zerion defense fleet alone numbers over 10,000 vessels. Order them to destroy these intruders. Immediately. War Master, the communications officer continued nervously. The Zerion fleet has engaged the unknown vessels. And? The Zerion fleet has been destroyed. Complete annihilation in 17 minutes. No survivors. The throne room fell silent except for the humming of the Emperor's life support systems. 10,000 ships destroyed in 17 minutes was impossible. Even the Vorthak Empire's most powerful fleets would need hours to achieve such overwhelming victory. "Show me," Emperor Vorthak Prime commanded. The holographic display changed to show tactical recordings from the battle. War Master Krex watched in growing horror as sleek alien ships moved through space with impossible grace. Their weapons carved through Vorthak armor like it was paper. Their movements were perfectly coordinated, as if every ship knew exactly what every other ship would do. "What technology is this?" Krex whispered. "Unknown," replied the communications officer. "Our science teams are analyzing the recordings, but preliminary reports suggest energy manipulation beyond our understanding." Emperor Vorthak Prime leaned forward in his throne. "Deploy the Grand Armada to Zerion immediately. Every ship in the core fleets. I want these unknowns captured for study." "My Emperor," War Master Krex said carefully. "Perhaps we should learn more about these aliens before committing our main force." "Are you questioning my judgment, War Master?" "No, my Emperor. But caution has served us well for 3 centuries. These unknowns destroyed 10,000 ships in minutes. Perhaps a more measured response." "The Grand Armada numbers 50,000 vessels, War Master. No force in galactic history has ever stood against such power. We will crush these aliens and add their technology to our own." War Master Krex bowed reluctantly. "As you command, my Emperor." Orders flowed out from the throne world to every corner of Vorthak space. The Grand Armada, the largest fleet ever assembled, began converging. On the Zerion system, massive dreadnoughts that could shatter moons, carrier ships holding thousands of fighters, and world-killer weapons designed to crack planets open like eggs. 3 days later, War Master Krex stood on the bridge of the command dreadnought Eternal. Hunger as the Grand Armada dropped out of hyperspace around Zerion. The sight before them should have filled any enemy with despair. 50,000 Vorthak ships stretched across space like a metal storm cloud, weapons powered and ready for battle. "Contact the unknown fleet," Krex ordered. "Demand their surrender." The communication went out on all frequencies in every known language. The response came back in perfect Vorthak, which was impossible since no outsider had ever learned their language. "This is Admiral Song Kite of the Terran 7th Fleet. You have 30 seconds to power down your weapons and surrender, or we will destroy you." War Master Krex almost laughed. "Admiral Song, you face 50,000 ships with less than 1,000. Your surrender demand is illogical. 20 seconds. You cannot possibly believe you can defeat us. 10 seconds, final warning." War Master Krex looked at his tactical display. The alien ships, these Terrans, were arranging themselves in formations that made no tactical sense. They were outnumbered 50 to 1, yet they acted like they had already won the battle. "Open fire," Krex commanded. "All ships full assault." The Grand Armada unleashed hell. 50,000 ships fired every weapon they possessed at the small Terran fleet. Energy beams that could melt asteroids, missiles that could destroy cities, and particle cannons that could crack continental plates, all focused on the alien vessels. The attack should have vaporized the Terran fleet instantly. Instead, something impossible happened. Every shot missed or was deflected by energy shields that bent space itself. The Terran ships moved through the barrage like dancers, avoiding destruction by inches while their own weapons began to respond. What followed was not a battle. It was an execution. Terran ships moved with supernatural coordination, striking Vorthak vessels with surgical precision. Their weapons passed through Vorthak's shields like they didn't exist. Massive dreadnoughts that had conquered star systems exploded in brilliant flashes of light. Fighter swarms vanished in coordinated strikes that eliminated hundreds of targets simultaneously. Impossible, War Master Krex breathed as he watched his fleet dissolve around him. No one fights like this. No one moves like this. The communications. Officer looked up from his station, his cybernetic face pale with fear. War Master, I'm detecting quantum entanglement networks linking every Terran ship. They're not fighting as individual vessels. They're fighting as a single organism. What does that mean? It means they can coordinate instantly across any distance. Every ship knows exactly what every other ship is doing. Their tactical computer is the entire fleet. On the main screen, War Master Krex watched a single Terran ship, no larger than a Vorthak cruiser, destroy 6 dreadnoughts in as many seconds. Its movements were perfect, its aim flawless, its timing inhuman. War Master, the tactical officer, reported. We've lost 70% of the fleet. The unknowns have taken minimal damage. Krex slammed his fist on the command console. How? How are they doing this? A new voice came through the communications array. Different from Admiral Song, older and more authoritative. This is Captain Lim Youngsik of the dreadnought Indomitable Terra. War Master Krex, your Empire's reign of terror ends today. Surrender now, and your surviving crews will be treated according to the laws of war. Never, Krex shouted. We are Vorthak, we do not surrender. Then you will die. All ships execute final protocol. The remaining Terran vessels suddenly stopped their individual attacks and moved into a single massive formation. Energy began building between them, growing brighter and more intense until it hurt to look at. War Master, the science officer, called out. They're creating some kind of quantum resonance field. The energy readings are off all our scales. What will it do? I don't know. But War Master, if I had to guess, I would say they're preparing to destroy this entire system. War Master. Krex stared at the growing light between the Terran ships.